So what we are going to do today is this topic, sociology as science. Now, this topic, there's a very important question. Now, you know the context of debate, okay? So the question is, you can see here the questions, is sociology a science? Okay, or give arguments for and against sociology being a scientific discipline. Or you can see here, sociology emerged as a scientific discipline. Discuss the statement in the light of the debate whether sociology is a science or not. So, what is the debate? Whether sociology is a science or not. Now, if you look into this, you know already the context that we have discussed when we discussed about emergence of sociology itself. If you remember, I have told you, initial sociologists, they wanted to make it on the line similar to natural sciences, right? Because sociology is a relatively young discipline, just came in 1838, and age of enlightenment, intellectualism, and all these are very strong. So social science, a new discipline, is not going to get that initial legitimacy among the intellectuals. It will be very difficult. Forget about among intellectuals, even among the common people also. If you need to get that acceptance for this new discipline, you need to make it similar to natural science, because people thinking that natural science like physics, chemistry, biology, etc. are superior, because that is totally based on evidence and reason, which can make theories which will be replicable also. Okay, so that bias was there among everybody. So that is the reason why when sociology emerged, the initial sociologists, they wanted, they desperately wanted to make it similar to natural science. Okay, so this is actually the context, that initial legitimacy, that initial acceptance, and obviously the obsession towards science at that point of time. This is also one of the most important reason. And you can see, when I have discussed about emergence of sociology, I've told you about social physics also, right? Saint Simon thought of social physics, which is similar to natural science physics. And yesterday, when I have discussed about scope of sociology, I've talked about Herbert Spencer's organismic analogy. He compared society with an organism, and we can see a similar analogy between sociology and biology was made. How he compared various elements in society with various organs and then tissues and cells, etc., right? So here, systems, subsystems, groups, individuals, he compared it with organs, tissues, and cells. So those attempts we have already seen. Now this is the context. So I hope you understood the context. So in this question, you need to explain the context in your introduction. What is the context? You can simply write the first sentence about emergence of sociology. That is, sociology emerged in response to challenges posed before modernity in medieval Europe. So that is going to be your introduction. Okay, in the first sentence, any question from first three chapters, that is how you need to start with. And then when you proceed, you can say, so you discussed about emergence. Now, when you proceed, what you need to say? The initial sociologist wanted to make it similar to natural science, because of general obsession towards science, and because of getting that initial legitimacy also. And there are many other reasons at that point of time, when you see, because sociology emerged as a new discipline, distinct discipline, new body of knowledge, not only to explain, right? Also, it has to provide solution. And also the third part, predict the future course of society. So if you need to predict something, it has to be like natural science, right? So this is actually the context. Now later, once sociology developed, now after some time, there are questions raised, there are objections raised, whether sociology is a science or not. Because sociology is studying what? Sociology is studying human beings. Now, can you study human beings like natural science? No, it is impossible, right? Natural science study what? Matter. We will discuss, we'll come to this in conclusion also. Natural science study matter. Matter means, let's say, let's talk about water. So if you boil water at 100 degrees Celsius, you know what is going to happen. You can predict that. You freeze water at 0 degrees Celsius, you know what is going to happen. You can predict that. So when science is dealing with matter whose behavior can be predicted easily in terms of cause and effect relationship. But is that possible when it comes to human being? How I behave here and how I behave in a different time will be different. Maybe when I teach sociology itself, within two groups, I'll behave differently, right? So Individuals will behave differently even in the similar circumstances and similar situation. Obviously, same individual will behave differently. Different individuals also behave differently, right? So you cannot predict the behavior of individuals. So subject matter of sociology is human beings whose behavior cannot be predicted. So this is actually the reason why this debate is now arising, whether sociology is a science or not. Can we consider sociology as science or not? Okay, so I hope you understood the context. There's a context, and that is what you need to write in your introduction. Now, once you proceed further, you will see all these discussion, the context, and everything. Okay, now, now we will see what you mean by science. Okay, now you need to explain what is science, how science is understood at that point of time. Okay, and then we can say what are the arguments in favor, and we can also say what are the arguments against sociology being science, and then we can make a conclusion. So this is a 5-step answer, and this is a structure that you need to follow. So first you will talk about the context as the introduction, and that we have done with already. We have done with that context. Now we need to explain what is science. So I'll tell you what do you mean by science. At that point of time, science is understood as any body of knowledge which conforms to the ideals of empiricism and inductivism. Okay, so empiricism and inductivism, and also you should be in a position to make theory, because through theory only you are going to generalize things and you're making the predictions. So empiricism, inductivism, and theory building is considered essential for any body of knowledge to be considered as science. Now, empiricism means what? The observable reality. It must be observable with the senses, right? So that is what empirical reality. Inductivism means, I have told you yesterday, it is a method of theory building, right? Method of theory building means right from collection of data to interpretation to generalization and making theories, and which will be testable. And theory also has to be there. So this is how you can explain science: any body of knowledge which conforms to the ideals of empiricism, inductivism, theory building can be considered as science. But later, science is understood more in terms of, this is a conventional understanding of science. Later, once things developed, science is understood more in terms of, this line is very important, guys, and this has to be printed in your heart. Okay, so if somebody is asking you what is science, don't say this. You can write, initially it was the case, but later it was understood more in terms of method of inquiry rather than body of knowledge. Now, what do you mean by this? So here we are talking about body of knowledge. It has to be empirical, it has to be inductive, it has to be theory, etc. Now here I'm talking about, it's not about body of knowledge. It doesn't matter whether you're studying an organism or you're studying an atom or you're studying force or any object, etc. It's all about how you study. What you study is not matter. What you study is not important. How you study. If the method of inquiry is based on logic, reason, and evidence, it is supported by proper evidence, then it can be considered as science. I hope you understood this. Initially, science was understood like this, but now, do you think if science is understood like this, sociology can ever be considered as science? Never. Because sociology cannot make universal theories which is applicable everywhere. Inductivism is very rarely possible in sociology. Empirical reality you cannot consider in sociology, because in sociology you are dealing with human beings who's having meanings, emotions, etc. So that cannot be empirical, that cannot be quantified. So if this is the approach, we can never say sociology is science. But if this is the approach, we can say sociology is a science, because we are conducting inquiry based on logic, evidence, and reason. So we can say sociology is science, but still there are limitations, and that is what we need to discuss under arguments in favor and arguments against. So I hope this part is done now. I have explained what do you mean by science. Conventional understanding of science is this, and this is a modern understanding. So science means what? It's a method of inquiry rather than simply understanding as a body of knowledge. If the method of inquiry is scientific, then you can say it is science. Okay, now we need to see some conditions for science. There are some conditions like Quantifiability, you just need to mug it up like this, and exactly the same you need to reproduce. Quantifiability, or next one, inter-subject reliability, and then objectivity, and then theory building, and also testing. So just remember this 5 conditions. So these are the conditions for any body of knowledge to be qualified as science. Okay. Now, what do you mean by quantifiability? Yesterday I've told you about this. Quantifiability means the scope or the subject matter should be defined clearly. It has to be quantified, like what sociology should study, like what biology will study, what physics will study, what chemistry will study. It has to be quantified. That means the scope has to be specific. It has to be crystal clear. Inter-subject reliability means inter means what? Inter-college festivals, what? Between colleges. Inter-subject means what? Between subjects. So for example, any subject if you take, the meanings should be the same. For example, when you say oxygen, the meaning is the same. It doesn't matter whether you're talking in the context of physics, chemistry, or biology, right? Okay. So that's what you mean by inter-subject reliability. The concepts should have the same meaning across subjects. Objectivity means the research should be objective. There should not be any personal bias. If you remember one of the examples that we have discussed yesterday, that domestic violence is because of alcoholism. For example, a lady who is conducting this study on domestic violence, and she is subjected to this domestic violence because of alcoholism of her husband, then do you think this investigation will be biased? Yes, she will only start with this as the reason, right? So there should not be any personal bias. Similarly, a Muslim is conducting a study on Hindu religion. Do you think it will be biased? Yes. Okay, or Hindus conducting a study on Muslim religion, it will be biased. You will see when you study G.S. Gure, etc., that biasness you will see later. Okay, so there should not be any personal bias. Theory building, that is very simple. There has to be theory, and the theories which are made must be testable. So that's how you need to explain these conditions. Now what we need to see is arguments in favor. Do we have inter-subject reliability in sociology? Yes, there is a considerable, keep the word in mind, considerable amount of inter-subject reliability. For example, the concepts like family. Family means what? When we discuss in any context, any situation, family means family. So there is an inter-subject reliability. Quantifiability, the scope of sociology is also defined. For example, Emile Durkheim defined the scope of sociology in terms of social fact, right? Weber defined in terms of social action. So it is defined. Objectivity. Do you think absolute objectivity is possible in sociology? It is not possible, absolute objectivity. So when it comes to natural science, absolute objectivity is possible and desirable. But in sociology, absolute objectivity is neither possible nor desirable. Why? Because you're dealing with human beings whose behavior cannot be predicted. But still, we will try to ensure objectivity with various methods. You're going to study this, proper training of the investigator, etc. So that also we have discussed argument in favor. Theory, you are going to study a number of theories. For Marx, we are going to study theory. Weber, we are going to discuss theories. Durkheim, we are going to discuss 4 theory. Parson, Merton, Mead, all these you will see theories. There is no problem with this. Testing, you can say the entire society is a testing ground for sociologists. These are the arguments in favor. Okay. Now arguments against. Arguments against, if you see, mostly you can talk from this perspective. Objectivity. See, when we discuss about science, objectivity is desirable, but that is not possible in sociology. Okay, you can talk about theory also. Various theories which are made by these sociologists are not universally applicable. Testing, it is impossible in sociology, because sociology is you cannot test things like you know what you can do in natural science. Natural science, everything can be done in lab. In when you say, you can say entire society is a testing ground for sociologists, but can you test marriage, family, all those things, domestic violence? No. So there are obvious limitations in testing. These are the limitations. Now we need conclusion. So in conclusion, Understand this very carefully, and you just need to reproduce the same. You don't want to put any effort, you don't want to read anything else, just reproduce the same. So what we can conclude, we are going to say, do you think sociology is similar to natural science? No. No, that is crystal clear. So what we will say is sociology is not similar to natural science, but it is a science in itself. It is a science. Why we are calling this a science? Because science is understood more in terms of method of inquiry rather than body of knowledge. So if science is understood as method of inquiry, we are conducting investigation properly with logic, evidence, reasons, proper methods, proper training of the investigator, and it's not just common sense. So we can say sociology is a science, but not similar to natural science. If you're asking me whether sociology is similar to natural science like physics, chemistry, biology, obviously no. But is it a science? Yes. Why it is a science? Because method of inquiry is scientific. You can also write the statement which I've discussed before. Weber gave the statement, the basic difference between natural science and sociology is the subject matter. What is the difference in subject matter? Natural science study matter. What is sociology studying? Human beings. Matter do not have consciousness. Human beings have consciousness. So the behavior can be predicted when it comes to natural science. Here it cannot be predicted. So cause and effect relationship can be made. Here it cannot be made. Here objectivity possible. Here it is not possible. Okay, so that is the main reason. And we are saying that it is similar to natural science. It is entirely different. You are dealing with matter. So you can predict the behavior. You boil the water at 100 degrees Celsius. You can predict, you can say what is going to happen. You freeze the water at 0 degrees Celsius, again, to the freezing point, you can predict. But that won't be possible with respect to the human beings. So I repeat what all things we have discussed. I have discussed about the context, right? Context, there you need to discuss about emergence of sociology, initial intellectuals and their approach. Then I've discussed with you the idea of science. I've discussed initial idea and then later the changed idea. It is understood initially, it has to conform to empiricism, inductivism, naturalism, theory building, etc. Later, it is all about method of inquiry rather than body of knowledge. Then what we have done, we have discussed about conditions. What are they? Inter-subject reliability, quantifiability, objectivity, theoretical orientation, and testing. And then we have discussed arguments in favor. And then we have discussed arguments against. And then we have done with the conclusion. So this has to be crystal clear, and that's it. This is the clarity that I'm expecting that you also need to have. If you have this clarity, then it doesn't matter whether you need to write in 100 words or 600 words. That you can do. Okay, so I'll move to the PDF and I can explain with the PDF. Things will be easy after that. I'll move a bit faster here. Okay, I hope this is clear, crystal clear. There is no need to have any doubt in this. Sociology emerged as a distinct discipline in response to challenges posed before modernity in medieval Europe. The orientation of initial sociologists was to develop sociology on the line similar to natural science. The scientific revolution in the field of astronomy, medical sciences together, okay, medical science, physics, and biology led intellectual to dream of a discipline which could generate similar universal laws of social organizations. Saint Simon even dreamt of social physics. Auguste Comte, the founding father of sociology, claimed to have developed, this is not there, universal laws of social organization. Similarly, Herbert Spencer's organismic analogy was guided by the same assumptions. As sociology developed, questions were raised on the possibility of employing basic assumptions of natural science in sociology. So what is the question? Can you simply adopt the basic assumptions of natural science in sociology? That is a question. Because in what the initial sociologists did, they started using the methods directly from natural science. For example, you will see Emile Durkheim using statistical techniques. You're going to study all these, okay? And which is a quantitative method, which is more suitable for science. And then objections were raised on the validity of the universal laws developed by initial sociologists. This initiated the debate on the nature of sociology, that is, whether sociology is a science or not. See, this is around 80 words. What you need, you just need 25 to 30 words maximum as your introduction. Okay? That is something which you need to understand, and that is how you need to write. You cannot write all these things, hardly 20 to 30, that's it. The roots of this debate are located in the basic understanding of the term science. During 19th century, the term science mainly drew from natural science. The body of knowledge was considered as science only if it yield universal laws and conforms to the ideals of empiricism, inductivism. So these are three conditions. Subsequently, with the intellectual development, the conception of science underwent a change. What is that? Gradually, science came to be understood more in terms of method of inquiry rather than body of knowledge. Key sentence, this has to be there in your mind. Science has been defined as any systematic study based on evidence and reason. It assumes that if the explanations are given in a logical, scientific, or reasoned manner, that must be considered as scientific. These are the conditions: intersubject reliability, objectivity, quantifiability, theoretical orientation, and testing. So what I've told you is what I've explained here. Okay. Here, testing, which is already discussed, though there is no need of explanation. That's why I skipped it here. Now, arguments in favor. As a body of knowledge, sociology is considered as a scientific discipline on the basis of the following arguments. There is a considerable amount of intersubject reliability in the concepts framed by sociology. Concepts like family, religion, groups are defined precisely and have the same meaning for all. Social objects or phenomena can be observed in a concrete form through proper description using case studies. Various phenomena like social groups, social situations have been quantified clearly. Emile Durkheim, while defining the scope of sociology, tried to quantify even the extreme abstract forms in his theory of social facts. Thus, we will study this theory. Next point, although absolute objectivity is not possible, but sociology has ensured objectivity by using scientific methodology and proper training of the investigator. You're going to study a lot of methods. For example, Weber, you will study Verstehen, comparative analysis, causal pluralism, ideal types, causal probabilism. Durkheim, you will study multivariate analysis, okay, statistical techniques, indirect experiment. See, guys, only these names are difficult. The methods are very simple, and you will realize that soon. Sociology has developed theories which have considerable applicability on number of situations. Although there is an apprehension regarding the success of universal theories, still the subject matter of sociology is capable of yielding some theories. So you have n number of examples from your thinkers itself. You can write all these you are going to study. I'm not reading it out. Sociology uses methods, and the whole society is a testing ground for sociologists. Thus, sociology witnessed a large number of similar situations in which the theories can be tested. So that's the arguments in favor. We supported all the arguments. Now arguments against. We don't want to write too much about this, okay? Your energy should not be focused on arguments against, because ultimately your conclusion is sociology is a science. In terms of sociology being similar to natural science, there may be a number of limitations, like limits to empirical testability and universal theories. That's a problem. Testability is a problem. Theories are the problem, because all these theories which are made is not necessarily universally applicable. Absolute objectivity as desirable in natural science is not possible in sociology. Okay. At the same time, there are obvious limitations on experimentation in sociology. Apart from this, sociological investigations sometimes generate controversies related to the vagueness in concepts, variations in social phenomena, unpredictable nature of human beings, etc. What is going to be our conclusion? I'll say the conclusion. So what we will do, we will say sociology is not similar to natural science, but it is a science. Why? Because science is understood more in terms of method of inquiry rather than body of knowledge. You can also explain the basic difference between natural science and social science. And finally, or sociology, what is that? Natural science dealing with matter which do not have any consciousness, whose behavior can be predicted in terms of cause and effect relationship. Sociology study human being who's having consciousness, whose behavior cannot be predicted in terms of cause and effect. So what we can say, sociology is a science. It's a social science. In this context, it is acknowledged that sociology is not similar to natural science, but it's a science in itself. Okay? Difference in the nature of sociology is drawn from its basic subject matter, the ultimate reducible element of which is an individual. According to Max Weber, there's a statement which you can write if possible, if you have time and space. Natural science study matter which is not having any consciousness. So no consciousness, and the behavior can be predicted in terms of cause and effect objectively. On the other hand, sociology study human beings. So who's having consciousness, the behavior cannot be predicted, and the exact laws are not possible. According to him, sociology is a scientific discipline as it can study the subject by using scientific methodology. Thus, sociology is a social science. Moreover, you can use this statement also. Famous statement by Karl Popper further proves sociology to be a scientific discipline. This is nothing but what we have discussed before. Science is not a body of knowledge, but method of studying a phenomena. This is exactly what we have discussed now. It's a method of studying a phenomena. It's not a body of knowledge. Science is understood more in terms of method of inquiry rather than body of knowledge. That it's put in a statement by Karl Popper. This is exactly what we have discussed here. Method of inquiry rather than body of knowledge. So that's it, guys. It's a very simple topic, very important topic. Alternate years, you can expect this question. Sociology as science. Is sociology science? Give arguments, favor and against, like that. You will get questions. Any doubts here?
No, sir. So please repeat the concept of cause and effect relationship.
Cause and effect means you need to explain if there is an effect. Okay, it has to be explained in terms. For example, your health is not good. For everything, we have discussed that yesterday. For everything, there is a cause and effect relation. If you are saying you are rich, there is a cause for that. You're working all the time for becoming rich. That's why you're rich. You're poor. For that also you are lazy. That's the reason why you're a poor. So that is a cause here. You are obese. Okay, you are facing the problem of obesity. What is the reason? You are consuming too much of sugar or this food, etc. Right? So that is what, and you have to establish this relation, cause and effect relation. And that is mostly possible when it comes to natural science.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir, this is tough. Can you explain a little bit about body of knowledge?
Which one?
So body of knowledge. What do you mean by body of knowledge?
Body of knowledge means what it study. It's not about what it study. How it studies what matter later. That means it has to be based on what it study. It should not be focused. What it study. That's what you mean by empirical reality, observable things, right? Like that. That means what it study. It's like atom, like that.
Okay.
Sir, there was one question in 2018 which says, does scientific method make sociology a science? Illustrate your answer with Durkheim's method. And it was a 10 marker. So
that you will study when it comes to Durkheim. You will understand. See,
okay,
all these,
okay.
Some of the questions, if it is not directly, you can understand from here. You will be able to understand once we complete the thinkers, because it is specific to Durkheim.
Okay. Actually, I got confused because Durkheim, as we studied that Durkheim considered sociology.
No, Durkheim, we haven't done anything in Durkheim actually. We just mentioned yesterday about social facts. We'll do it in detail.
Exactly. So my point is, we will come to know to which of his theory we need to mention, or we need to mention all of his theory bits and pieces.
No, yeah, all of everything that we are going to study in future has to come in that answer. That you will be capable of doing that once we're done with the Because we have to complete the syllabus, then only you will be able to do that. At this point of time, there are obvious limitations for you.
Sir,
All right.
sir,
Yeah, tell me, Shivi.
how intellectual influences affecting the emergence of sociology?
Intellectual influence, all those intellectual influence that we have discussed that day, Saint Simon, Auguste Comte, and then various methods, survey methods, Darwin's theory of biological evolution, Herbert Spencer, all these you can write. Apart from that, once sociology developed, then there are many thinkers and their contribution and all those things you need to mention that you will be learning more later. But whatever we have discussed, with that itself, you can write 130 word answer.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, is this conditions also applicable to other social sciences, sir? Conditions for
condition?
science.
No, generally condition, this is for any body of knowledge to become science. It is applicable in all contexts.
Okay, sir, like history, economics, political science, these are applicable, sir?
Yes, it is general. It is not for any particular subject. It is general. If any body of knowledge which satisfies this, then it can be considered as science.
Okay. Sir, still the thinkers make the laws in sociology. Sir, these are still reliable, sir?
No. Actually, all these are, keep on changing all the time. One thinker will come criticize the other person. So, but we will make it reliable and we will make it relevant. When you write the answer, we will find some reason to say why it is relevant. For example, we will discuss Karl Marx. And do you think his theories are relevant, communism and all those things? Not relevant. But we will make it relevant by saying
Other
that
comes and criticizes.
we will say it is relevant because till the time poverty and exploitation exist, Marxian concerns and Marxian theories are relevant. Till the time exploitation of man by man is there, till then concerns raised by Marx is there. Till the time poverty is there, till the time inequality is there, till the time exploitation is there, Marxian concerns are relevant. We will make it relevant. Because they will ask you question, how far it is relevant today, how far Karl Marx is relevant, how far Durkheim's theories are relevant. So we will find a reason for making it relevant. And I'll explain how to write relevance and all those things. Don't worry about that. Relevance has to be understood in different ways. To what extent the current thinkers are using as concepts, that is also showing the relevance. Okay. So different dimensions we need to discuss the relevance. That we will do in the coming sessions. Okay, guys. So we will discuss tomorrow. See you.